Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at Tweet4 Media, we definitely disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and of course, our partners that hold us down. I'm Ron Grant. Welcome back to Season 6 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show that is poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Now, it's not about suits and bow ties, but instead real-life lessons that truly translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. Our next guest is one of the most hardworking people I know, and contrary to popular belief, he has gotten where he is by hard work. You know the face, you know the name, deCastro, a entrepreneur in these British Virgin Islands, leading the fourth in business. We're going to talk all things heritage, history, what makes him a proud Virgin Islander, and of course, hard work that makes success in business a top priority. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Gentlemen, it's time to discover That Guy Experience. We are a product line specifically catering to the men with beards. Our products are 100% natural and handmade right here in the BVI. Butters, oils, and cleansing products, all designed to add softeners, shine, and growth to your beard and hair. Visit us at Meraki Hair Clinic or thatguybvi.com and begin your journey as that guy. We are a life-changing experience. That Guy Hair and Beard Products.
Orange alert! Fire is spreading across the BVI. The fastest, most reliable, and affordable fiber internet service is here for you. Look out for fire in these new locations: Slaney, Duff Bottom, Manual Reef, Seacows Bay, Albion, Hannah's, Palestina, Pleasant Valley, and Havers. Fiber is in your area. Call 444-4444 or visit a CCT store to find out more and bring it home. More locations coming soon.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by the one and only, the man himself, deCastro. Welcome to the Art of a Distinguished Gentleman.
Thank you, Ron. Glad to be here.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
It's an honor.
Cheers. Now, in the introduction, I mentioned about the fact that, and misconceptions are misconceptions. Let's just start there. We can't avoid them. But what we can do is set the record straight. I know, because I know you personally, and in my opinion, you're one of the most hardworking individuals that I know. Young, professional, leading the way, not afraid to take risk. I want to talk about your journey in entrepreneurship. Where did it all start?
That's a good question. I can honestly say my journey started basically based on just structures falling apart. It's literally based on circumstance.
Okay.
So if you know me, and some people know my history, I have my past, my present, and the future, we don't know what that holds. But when I got into business, I worked for my father, and I've always seen my father, my aunts, my uncles, they build their businesses. And I always look at the BVI as a place where we build our own infrastructure, where they have locals that have businesses. And then I do research, I look at other countries too. And I said, well, all of these places have businesses, have buildings, have offices, and someone has to provide or create economic infrastructure. Whereas, yes, there's the government side of it, but then in the private sector, a country can only grow as much as the people. So after Alma, again, my story with the whole Main Street restaurant, it was about 5 years ago, family building, saw the destruction. And then in the destruction, it was a lot going on. People leaving the country, people trying to find new things, find new places to go. And then I was like, the only thing I know is Tatola.
Yeah.
And I basically, me and my dad, which we have a really good relationship, I said, it's going to be interesting 5 years from now if we put in the work to see what's going to happen and where we could be. And in that, actually having the responsibility of cleaning up all of this garbage and all this muck, I see a vision of a restaurant in one of the family buildings, which is 100 years old. And then I realized, I said, this is a really good way to push the name, push myself, and create a new generation that can go on for decades. So it wasn't necessarily where I decided I wanted to be, in food and beverage and what's not, I just looked at, hey, this is a situation where this building is demolished. We need to recreate it. Instead of it just going to waste, a vision came about, and then boom, I started building, started chipping away, stick by stick, board billetness, and that's the thing. A lot of people would think that, things just pop up in your brain or ideas just come together. And it was far from that, because it was something that I did on my own. My father shadowed me where I was going wrong. He would always stick in, stick out, step aside, let me fail. My mother always give me words of encouragement.
Beautiful.
She'd always, that's the soft touch, you understand?
Okay.
She'll be like, keep going. Nothing is built in one day. And the hard days, they always gave me support. And I just kind of chip away where it just came to life,
You've had a vision, and now it's a reality that many of us get to enjoy. One of the beautiful things about the Main Street restaurant is, and I didn't know about it being in your family and it being some 100 years old, but Main Street, as we all know it, is perhaps one of the most historically rich areas in the Virgin Islands, and for you to have been able to curate an experience and not take away from that street, but add to it on what was already there is pretty remarkable. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
One of the things that, and I'm going to get into the nitty gritties of actually developing a concept and seeing it through. But some words that I would use to describe you are assertive, aggressive when necessary, keen, attention to detail, no nonsense. What you see is what you get. How do you think, and you could agree or disagree with some of those characteristics, that's fine if you do. How do you think you being Kai, authentically Kai, as often as you can be, how do you think that has added to just the success of not only your brand, but to who you are as an individual?
Well, I mean, it definitely helps me, like knowing when to push the button and when to hold back.
Okay.
And it's funny enough, like you said, I'm no nonsense, and it's true. But people would see me, and again, I'm kind of, I have like a dark horse where I have a lot of fun, and I'm jovial. But when it comes to business and success, even competition, I'm very competitive. But it's internal.
Okay.
So I compete with myself. I don't really compete with my peers. So I've never been a person to be like, what, I'm going to hold back information, I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people do the right thing, like to build people up. So with me following through with who I am, I always try to push myself a little more, reach a little higher, try to always outshine the last project I take on.
Okay.
So it's a lot of different things that's helped me get to where I am right now.
Wonderful. So in this particular space and time of the Virgin Islands, we as young professionals a lot is being asked of us. A lot is being required of us, because there's always the conversation of the changing of the guard, and who's going to take up different roles or carry on legacies. Where do you see yourself not fitting in, but making impact and influence? Yes, you're doing it in business already, but where do you see yourself evolving to, if you've thought about it?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about it that much, but really, I honestly think just having a solid presence in society can do so much. It's not always about politics or where you stand, but it's more about what you do for the people around you or the people you interact with on a daily basis. So where I'm at right now, my goal is to continue to be consistent in my growth as a person.
Beautiful.
And the more I grow, the more I can assist. Whereas not in the sense of a handout where it's somebody that buy car kai. But the more I create, the greater you become. It's kind of like natural selection.
Understood.
Whereas you have the ability to assist people in their growth. Because you can always give someone fish. But if you could teach them to fish, they could be able to feed their family could feed their family. And that's more or less my goal, to be able to be a representation of myself, my family, my legacy in the community.
That's what's up.
It's basically a politician without being a politician.
Okay. But since you brought it up and you mentioned politics, because it's a conversation I've had with many of my guests. Almost a unavoidable conversation. If the opportunity were to come up, if you were perhaps called upon or, asked to serve in the capacity of an elected official, would you consider public office?
That is a heavy ask. Especially in the sitting. I honestly don't know. Leading isn't hard, but having to make decisions for every different demographic of person, having to deal with them, their personalities, how people may feel. And, you could make a decision without and deal with the consequences, because I make decisions all the time.
Correct.
And I take responsibility for every action I make. I don't point a finger. I don't blame my soul. If you don't have an umbrella, it's my fault. Not that I didn't put myself in the right circumstance to be prepared, or it's my bad luck. I didn't plan for the day. So being a political leader is something, isn't impossible.
Okay.
And I wouldn't put it out of my mind. But to be that person, I would first have to educate myself, Like, I'd have to be able to be a good representative, have healthy ideas, surround myself with the right people. Whereas the BVI is loaded with knowledge, and having to be able to represent everyone and try to have good, healthy conversations.
Well, I would say this, and I had the conversation with another guest who I asked because persons have often asked, and he's refused to consider public office. Persons have even asked up to a couple of weeks ago. A good friend of mine said, have you decided if you're going to run in 2017? And I have given it much thought, but my single prerequisite for understanding whether you do or you don't comes from the fact that I personally believe that there are more ways than one to have impact and influence on a community. And while somebody needs to serve, and I say this without any fear of contradiction, we keep seemingly make or try to make politics the goalpost for success in this territory, and it's not. It's actually far from it. And any healthy society, any healthy community, if you can thrive, just like you said, in your corner, that would spread some light and impact and influence. It doesn't necessarily mean standing on a lectern and shouting.
And that's exactly the same thing. Like, doing it is one thing, but then I still feel you can, like, I would have more impact behind the scenes. And not necessarily behind the scenes, but my position is my position, you know? Like, I'm in the private sector. I'm a small business. My intentions of growth is I dream extremely big, you know? So it's like you said, being a political leader is an awesome deal, and it's more an accomplishment in the sense of being an honor, as opposed to for my financial success. I don't see myself using that.
Correct.
As the
premise,
okay, I'm gonna be a political leader and X, Y, and Z. I want my intention is to be successful without that, you know. And then when I'm at that point, whoever's in power, you know, it doesn't matter which government, who's the leader, we're all still BV Islanders.
That is true.
So in the grand scheme of things, me as a businessman, I just want to see the country win. You know, so it doesn't bother me. All the little different opinions of who doing what right. I literally was driving to town just now, and I was thinking, in the space of 30 years, the BVI has done so much. Like, we've grown. We've grown so much past, as much as we see the problems today.
Still
understand?
Exists, but
a portion of town were underwater. You know, we're only looking at what the problems are that bother us on a daily basis. But when I see, you know, how far we've come, per capita, we control, we make a difference. You understand? We're seen.
Understood.
We're known. So, I mean, I always say, you know, the BVI is one of the best places in the world to be.
Beautiful. And speaking as a proud Virgin Islander, one of the things you wear that quite well on your sleeve. There's no escaping a love for country. What would you say you're most proud of in being a Virgin Islander?
What am I most proud of? Resilience. Our ability to take on the war circumstance, and the next day we still rise. You know, very resilient people find a way. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. For me, that's my thing. Our resilience, you know, as Virgin Islanders.
Is there something that keeps you up at night when you look at our community and you look around, good, the bad, areas to improve upon? But is there one thing that gives you cause for concern and really, if you could, you'd like to see change or improved upon?
You're tying me up in a run. You're tying me up. But the BVI can improve on a lot of things, you know. I won't say things keep me up at night, but, you know, as a community, we could be more, take a page from the past, you know. A time ago, we were more loving. You know, everything wasn't about cents on the dollar. Whereas now, you know, and that don't pay the bills. You understand? Because I'm a businessman.
Agreed, yeah.
So saying some soft, sappy statement is not gonna, you know.
It's not gonna cut it in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
But you have a point too.
But, you know, I grew up around people that led the way, and even in other countries, you know, it was a community. You know, it takes a community to raise a child. And that's the thing, like, we've become so cutthroat that sense of family life and, Christian community. Yes, we have the pros and cons. We have extracurricular, we have tourism, we have all these things. But the lifestyle of competitiveness, I think we've separated from that warm BVI feel.
Fair enough.
And that's something that I feel we could get back to.
Agreed. Wonderful. You mentioned about being a small business owner, we all know that, but is there anything you learned about yourself so far in this process of being a entrepreneur that you perhaps didn't know? You had any qualities that you were like, I didn't know I could do that?
I have more patience than I thought. That's one thing.
Okay.
I got more patience than I thought.
Not bad.
And my ability to adapt, adjust, even create, I actually, some days I surprise myself, I get down when things fall apart. And then when I get it resolved, till my ability of conflict resolution has went from days to probably minutes.
Excellent.
So being in the business and having to be responsible for people, it actually grew me in a very quick space of time, quick time frame. So
amazing. Well, congratulations again, and as a patron of the restaurant, and also prior to that, your family business of deCastro,
deCastro
marketing.
Marketing.
You guys have continued to solidify yourself as a true Virgin Islands, not just a family, but a staple in the business community. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Viewers, we are chopping it up with the man himself, the one and only Kai deCastro. We are going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. You're watching The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 6. Welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. You are in the heart of Season 6, The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for rocking with me on this amazing journey. It is hard to believe that we are in our 6th season, 12 episodes per season, but we continue to find the best and brightest of the Virgin Islands men that are leading the charge in various industries. And sitting with me is one of those gentlemen, Kai deCastro. Kai, when you look at your peers and persons who you work with, socialize with, what would you say to the next generation of leadership? It could be business, it could be otherwise. But there's so many, I feel like there could be so many challenges that would deter persons from even attempting to try. Just like you, they would have a vision, but not many of us get to execute it. And I'm not sure why that is, but for the person, the young man that is watching, and he might see you and admires your work ethic, but not say anything, very apprehensive, nervous about making that bold step. What would you say to that individual?
Don't stop. When you have a vision, you have a dream, the goal is to start. Like, when I started, I didn't think I would ever finish. And I had roadblocks, hundreds of roadblocks. And every time it came to a deadline, I would always break through. Sometimes it would take longer. Sometimes it would be weeks, and that was one of the toughest things, having to, interact daily. And sometimes the conversations, people asking you, well, we see you have an idea and it's coming. When is it going to happen? And sometimes it would slow me down.
Okay.
Because I would feel a little discouraged. And when you feel discouraged, when you reach the end of the rope, tie a knot and hold on. But you have to keep pushing. You can't give up. You do what's necessary. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of sacrifice. You sacrifice the fun days.
Yeah.
You know, you have a lot of time. You're going to have to sacrifice the fun days just to be able to do it. And if you need to have fun, you have it in small doses, but you can't forget the goal. No matter how long it takes. It took me 5 years. 5 years. So as much as you might feel like, you know, I'm afraid, or you might start small, or someone mightn't like your idea, you know, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
You know, you do it, you keep pushing. Consistency, a lot of times you won't realize you're growing because you see yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the growth comes over time. A lot of businesses take 30 years, you know. Some take 20, some take 10, some take 5. But if you give up, 0 times 0 equals 0.
Gotcha. In the space of young professionals, male or female, is there anyone or any persons, it could be more than one, that you observe, you interact? Because one of the things I find, Kai, is that persons tend to admire from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean they would see you doing your thing, quite proud, but persons don't necessarily, oftentimes some do, but I don't think we've created a culture enough of where we value giving persons their flowers when we should. So I'm allowing you an opportunity to give anyone that you've worked with along your journey their flowers. Who were some of the persons that you see doing the damn thing and they inspire you too?
Ooh. P3, Sinclair, you know.
Future guest of season 3 as well.
Yeah.
Season 6, sorry.
Him, Robbie, my brother, Jovan, that's Family Dental. It's so many people,
So
like
good
I would,
choices, though.
like it's so many people that I would walk around and I patronize them too. You know, I interact with them, and just interacting with them, it taught me to be like, you know what, I need to keep going. You know, I support them, Keem, Liberty Bell. And again, all of these guys, all of us, we socialize, we communicate, we talk about our struggles.
Yes.
You know, we could call each other.
It's a safe space. Very good.
We support. You know, it's not about the dollar. You know, everyone has their own corner. But then, you know, so many people, Joe Correa, you know, I was at a safe space where I was working before I jumped into the private sector. And Sinclair told me, he was like, quit. And I was like, dog, you can't just tell me to quit my job. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're more asset outside of a uniform, just letting you know. And, you know, with that, you know, people like him and a lot of friends and family, everyone out there that I interact with on a daily basis, you know, I could literally thank them, hug, kiss, handshake, you know. They're part of molding me too, you know, because you don't get up and be strong by yourself.
No. Yeah.
You know.
I'm glad you say that. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So it's like, they know who they are, every single one.
Good. But thank you for sharing some of them. In hindsight, you know, Vision 2020, what would you say would be next for Kai on any realm? Anything that you, bucket list, or if you can speak to them?
Bucket list. I have something in the making. You know, I have a few projects that I want to jump into. But right now, I just hanging tight for a nice vacation. Got 2 weeks
Okay.
out of town. Just get my mind right before I plug back in.
Yes.
And start the next
chapter.
Next chapter.
Beautiful.
But it's going to be something, you know. I look forward to seeing if I'm going to be able to pull it off. So,
Something tells me you will be able to.
thank you.
Awesome. I want to take this opportunity once again and thank you for not only the conversation and being a guest, but for your authenticity and your ability to bring life to a room, you know, bring light to tough situations and make people laugh, but also put your pedal to the metal and do the damn thing when you have to. So congratulations on the opening and success. We wish you continued success at the restaurant and in all of your other endeavors. But when you look back, when it's all said and done, make no mistake about it, deCastro will be among the names of the best and brightest of our generation that persons will grow to remember and appreciate. So thank you.
Thank you, it's an honor.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Viewers, that is all the time we have. You have been watching season 6 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman. I want to thank you guys so much for rocking with us. I'll see you next week.